Hello everyone, welcome to the next tutorial where we will be talking about non-primary data structures. So what's the difference between primary data structures and non-primary data structures is that in case of primary data structures, we have certain set of keywords or what we call it as syntax to mention the data type. But in case of a non-primary or non-primitive data structures, these are usually not defined in the programming language, but they are created by the programmer. So some of the common examples of non-primitive data structures is list, dictionaries, and tuples. So in this tutorial, we will be learning in detail about these three data types. Okay, so now let's begin with list. So, but even though we don't have a specific syntax, there are certain set of commands which we need to follow depending upon the type of data. Now, a list is always mentioned in square braces. Okay. Now, if I just give it as x is equal to a set of empty square braces, a variable is created. Now, you can actually find out, sorry, you can actually find out what is the type of variable or the data type which is stored in this variable. So now it says that it's a list. Okay, so now let us say inside these empty square braces I'm going to add some elements, or I'm going to use this list to store certain information which can be a number, say 8, it can be a string, say cat, and it can be a float number which I will write it as 4.56789, and a name which is again a string. And as you can see here, we don't write a float in quotes. So now I have used a list to store certain set of informations, and I press run, and that is actually stored. And like I said, if you want to try to find out what is the type of this variable, you just take type simple braces and within that the variable, and it automatically tells you that it's a list. Now you want to see how this actually looks, just type X, shift enter, you can see what exactly is stored in this variable. Now if you want to access any individual element inside this list, it's very simple. Open the square braces and type an index number. So what exactly is an index number is that each of these elements, that is 8, cat, Ashley, all these have been assigned with an index number depending on its position. And in Python, the numbering always starts with 0. So the integer 8 is at index 0 and the string cat is at index 1. So like this, the numbering starts from 0 and each element is assigned with an index number. So if I say x of 0 and click run, it shows the element which is in x at position 0. Now let us say we have a very long list. In the present list we hardly have 4 elements, but in future you may have a very long list, and in such cases it's very easy if you want to access the last element directly. So you type it as x of -1 and it says it is Ashley. So -1 always stands for the last element and 0 always stands for the first element. If you want to access the last but one element, then you should always give it as x of -2 and you can access it. Or if you want to access a range of values, let us say first two elements you want to access, then you have to give it as 0 to 2. And another interesting thing about Python is that when you say 0 to 2, you can see that the Python has read only the first two elements, because this is 0 and this is 1 and this is 2. So when you say 0 to 2, it does not consider the element which is in the second position, but it will consider every element until the second position, so that is 8 and cat. Similarly, if you want the entire thing to be displayed, this is one of the alternate ways to do it. If you just give a column and leave it, it will display the entire list. So these are the few things which you can play around with depending upon your interest. Now that we have created a list, we can again try to find what is the length of this list, and it says it's 4. So there are 4 elements in the list X. Now having created a list, let us say I would like to add a few more elements into this. So in such cases, we use a command called append, and let me give something that is missing in the list, and that is Corolla. Now what I'm actually trying to do here is add a new element to the list X. So upon adding this, I will ask the program to show me how the new list upon the addition looks. So now you can see that there is a Corolla added. In the same way, now we learnt about adding a new element. But in case if you want to delete certain element, then there are 3 different set of commands which you can use to delete the elements from a list. First is pop. So here you say x dot pop and simple brackets. In this entire program, it is important that you know when to use square braces, when to use flower brackets, and when to use simple brackets. Okay, so when we are talking about x dot pop, let us say I will give it as 1, and I will ask print x. Now what it did is that it had to pop the first element in the list X. So the first element in list X was cat, and that has been removed, so the new list contains only 4 elements now, which was initially 5 upon addition. Now the second command is del, so I will say del x0, and I press run, and then I will ask print x. So automatically the first element, that is nothing but the element which is occupying the index position 0 in the list X, got deleted, which was 8. In the same way, I need a new cell, so I'm going to click the plus button here so that I have a new cell, and then again x dot remove. Here I want Corolla removed. So one mistake what I did here is that my Corolla, in the word Corolla, the C is not capital, but in the list, original list, it's actually capital. And like I said, it's case sensitive, and the program will not understand if you do not match the entire syntax. So now I'm going to remove Corolla. Now, in case if you have more than one matching syntax, for example, if I execute this command twice, sorry, I have to come from here. So now again I will go back and run this. So as you can see, there are 2 Corollas in this list. So the number of new additions will depend on the number of times you would have executed this cell. So now I deleted this, and now when I say remove Corolla, there are actually 2 Corollas here. So this command will always remove the first appearance of that particularly matching or perfectly matching syntax. Now you can see there is still 1 Corolla left. If you execute this command again, even the another one gets removed automatically. So these are some of the simple basic operations using list, and these are of extreme importance, especially if you are working with large data sets and also in many other applications of data science. So next is dictionary. Like we understood in the previous data set, wherein you can access individual element of a list using its index number. Sometimes if the list is very long, it's very difficult to remember the exact index position of that particular element. So that is the reason why dictionaries have been invented. So dictionaries is similar to the list, but instead each value in this list is associated with a key, and this key can be something that you can remember also. So which let's try to understand what exactly these dictionaries are. And similar to list, how the list starts with always square braces. If it is square brace, then it is understood that it's a list. Similarly, if it is a flowery brace, then it is a dictionary. And like I said, if it was a list, we would have directly mentioned the elements as Ashley, Corolla, Polo, and so on. So in case of a dictionary, you have to associate a key to each of these values. So now in this example, I will take a name, say Charlotte. So that is basically the key. And here we are trying to create a dictionary wherein we will have information about where these people are actually from. So now in this case, Charlotte is from Brooklyn and Samuel is from North Carolina. So instead of trying to remember the exact index location of the values, which is Brooklyn and North Carolina in this case, we can always directly take the key values. That is, for example, if you say Charlotte, where does Charlotte stay? Then she stays in Brooklyn. Or where does Samuel stay? He stays in North Carolina. Like that, you can easily extract the value using its key. That is the reason why we use dictionaries. So after this, I'm going to go ahead and print X. So as you can see, it is stored as it is. Now, if I want to know, like I said, the advantage of dictionary is that you can access the values using its key. Now I will say in the dictionary X, I want to know where Charlotte is from. Now if I click run, it says she's from Brooklyn. In the same way, now let me create another dictionary, opening the flower braces, and again the key value is Charlotte, but this dictionary is about choice of their music. For example, Charlotte likes pop and Samuel likes jazz. Sorry, I missed the braces, and please remember that every time you mention a string, it needs to be in the quotes. So now the first dictionary, that is X, was about where these places are living, sorry, where these people are living, and in the second dictionary, it's about their choice of favorite music. So now if I say print Y, it's going to print this. Now we have created two set of dictionaries, but what if you want to add one more person's information into this? Then it's very simple. I will just click here and insert a cell here, and I'm going to add a new information in this case, and that would be X, because you want to add a new addition in the dictionary X. Open square bracket. This new person is Kevin, and he is basically from Virginia. Okay, after that, print X, sorry, X, and you can see one more information has been added to the previously created dictionary. In the same way, you can do it for Y as well, wherein I will give it as Y Kevin. In this case, the name of these people is actually the key. So Kevin likes, I don't know, classical. Let's go with classical, and then I'm going to print Y. So now we have a new information about this person whose name is Kevin. Now that I have two dictionaries, so what's the overall application? Having understood how dictionaries can be created, we need to understand where this is actually used. Now I'm going to create a list which I will call it as employee information. Now let us say this is an empty list as of now because there is nothing inside the square brackets, but I can add information into this list. So for that I am again going to use employee information dot append. I can use the command append here because employee information is basically a list. So in this I want it to append X. In the same way I want to append Y. That is, in this list you can find both the dictionaries. And now I will say print employee information. So it says Charlotte is from Brooklyn, Samuel is from North Carolina, Kevin is from Virginia, Charlotte likes pop, Samuel likes jazz, and Kevin likes classical. So like this, you can store a lot of information even inside a list and you can still access them. So now that we have created a list and this list consists of two dictionaries inside it, and now how are we going to access the element from this? Now again, you will have to call the name of the list, and in that the data is stored in such a way that X will be your first line and Y will be your second line. So depending upon what type of information you are trying to access. For example, we knew that X is about the place of living and Y is about the choice of music. So if you want information about their choice of music, then we know it is in the second line, which is nothing but 1, that is index number 1 in Python. So we are trying to look for an information which is related to the choice of music, and we want to know what kind of music Samuel likes. I will click this and automatically it says that Samuel likes smooth jazz. Okay, so this is one of the benefits of using a dictionary, wherein you need not remember the index position of an element, but you can directly get to know using the key. The next form of data we are trying to understand is that of tuples. So now there is one extra cell which I don't want. So I can cut this using this, and then we can go to tuples. Now what is so unique about tuples is that tuples is quite similar to the list, but the only difference is that once a set of values have been entered, it cannot be changed. So that is nothing but these are immutable. So now let us say, just for an example, I'm going to create a tuple list which I will call it as T1. And again, tuples have to be inside simple brackets, and let us say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'll, just for the sake of making it interesting, I will give a string in it. Okay, so this is a tuple which has been created. So this is how we actually differentiate the non-primitive data structures. If it is a square bracket, then it's a list. If it's a curly braces or flower braces, then it is a dictionary. And if it is a simple bracket, then it is a tuple. And once these values have been created as tuples, it cannot be changed. But similar to list, you can access the elements of a tuple using their index position number. Sorry, I used a different kind of bracket. So that is square brackets of -1, it says it is Shilpa, and if I use say 5, you can do this, or you can find the length of this tuple, which says 10. Now there are few, since we know that tuples, once the entry has been made, it cannot be changed. You can convert this to a list, make changes, and then convert it back to tuples and store it. So let's try to do that, and I will first create a list from tuples, which is T1. So now here the tuples has been created into a list, and as you can see, it was actually, if you see here, let me just print this for you. You can see it's in simple brackets, but here it got converted to square brackets. But if you want a better confirmation, you can print type of L1 and it says it's a list. Now you can make any sort of changes that you want to do, and I will say that I want at position 0, I want to add a new element, which is good day. Okay, now if I ask it to print L1, so now you have modified the list, and now you can convert this back to tuple, which I will call it as T2 is equal to tuple. Again, tuple is a keyword, and I will say L1 and print T2. As you can see, we are back with those simple braces, and if you still want a very good confirmation, then you can always print the type of the variable, and it says it's a tuple. So this is how you can still manipulate the information that is stored in tuples. So this is the end of the lecture on data structures. In the subsequent lectures, we will be talking about conditional statements such as if, else, while, for loops, and so on. Thank you.